speak on behalf of the Stewardship Committee by my mother, Martenco. Today's a continuation of their stewardship program of fearless generosity, and I'm going to discuss the concept from Luke chapter 4 of fearless service. Well, I'd say the world is quite a scary place. I'm sure many of you would agree with me on that, especially if you're young and don't know exactly what you want to do with your life or exactly what you're good at. Like Pastor discussed last week, we all have a purpose in this world, even if we quote-unquote think we are alone. So today I'd like to share a little testimony with you that helps emphasize the wonderful things that can happen when you discover and utilize your talents and live a life of fearless service. So for many years, Pastor has been trying to convince me to go to seminary school and become a pastor. To this day, Salmanda will call me this future president of this congregation. My life in this church started when I was young and thought that going to Sunday school meant waking up early, and going to church meant going to church early and hearing another boring sermon.
You out.
Over the years, my life within this church has flourished and turned into something I can describe as spiritual. My journey of fearless service starts with my encounter with preaching at Mountain Vista and Otter Lake campgrounds. It was the spring of 2010, I believe, and Pastor once again approached me with that look on his face of, "Oh, wait till you hear what I have to say." He specifically asked if he could plant a seed in my brain and continued on about preaching at 2 campgrounds in the summer for maybe a month or so. My first thoughts were, what do I know about being a pastor? And how can I, at the age of 19, speak to a bunch of people about God's Word when I have so much to learn myself? Well, if this can pose as a shock to you, immediately my father was like, "Yeah, Rach, that sounds like a great idea. You should do it." So there I went. I dove right in to starting a ministry that seemed quite scary at first, but in the end, proved to be something of some great reward. My first day was nerve-wracking. I didn't know the routine quite yet, and the people staring at me made my heart leap out of my chest. I even forgot to pass around the offertory plate the second service. Well, I'm happy to say, though, this story had a happy ending. This ministry has completely changed my outlook on my purpose in this world. My spirits were raised, and especially when Pastor had informed me that they requested me for the following summer. My thoughts were, I guess I did something right. To this day, I continue to participate in this ministry in the summer, and when it's the off-season, like now, I miss them dearly. I had discovered a talent that I didn't even know I had. The people of this congregation have continued to give me feedback of how I was doing and let me know that it was always in their prayers. From participating in a ministry that seemed far-fetched for a 19-year-old, I attained a church family like no other that genuinely cared about me and loved what I was doing for them. It had been one of the most rewarding things I have been a part of as a young Christian woman. So where does that leave all of you? What are your talents that you can bring to uplift this church and overall uplift your spirits? As I have done with the people of the campground, how can you reach out and touch the lives of someone with the gifts God has blessed you? How can you exhibit fearless service? As Pastor said to me those years ago, I would like to conclude with a verse that will hopefully plant a seed in your brain and soon flourish. The reading is from Luke chapter 4, verses 18 through 19. And it's a reading from the scroll of the prophet Isaiah. The Spirit of the Lord is upon me, because the Lord has anointed me to bring good news to the poor. He has sent me to bind up the brokenhearted, to proclaim liberty to the captives, and the opening of the prison to those who are bound, to proclaim the year of the Lord's favor. So use the Spirit of the Lord within you to help those who are in need. Thank you. And also I was asked, again volunteered, to make sure everyone knows that in your bulletins there are a time and talent sheet to consider filling out that. And there will be a basket. You can drop it off in the back of the church. We're going to bring it back out. Or you can hand it to any of the Stewardship Committee members. Thank you.